All right, so Alia, today we're going to talk about sensitives. People that are a little more sensitive to the paranormal world than other people.
Mm-hmm.
I, for one, am not very sensitive to the paranormal world. A ghost can literally be standing right
Or
next to me, or anything, and I probably would not know that it's a ghost or otherworldly apparitions.
Mm-hmm.
You, on the other hand, you have, I guess, what some people call a gift. You can,
Or a curse.
yeah, you can generally tell when a ghost is in the same room as you.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they even speak to you. Sometimes you can tell if it's a male or a female.
And honestly, it's not the voices in my head.
Although sometimes I question that. Sometimes you can get a name. Sometimes you can get an age. Sometimes you can get...
Even a visual.
Yeah, a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to talk today about why some people are a little more sensitive and why some people aren't sensitive. What can affect that, and just kind of stuff like that. So let's go ahead and dive into today's episode and have some fun with it.
All about the empaths.
Let's go.
All right, so what does sensitive actually mean to anyone? Like, I know sensitive as a definition means that certain things can be felt or be, hold on. Abby, are you cleaning? Can you please turn it down?
Abby, turn it down. We're recording, baby.
All right. So the definition of a sensitive is to be able to readily perceive or be highly receptive or responsive to an external stimuli. Yes, I am reading this because I cannot remember definitions worth the life of me. I can actually tell you the general, but anyway, so responsive to an external stimuli, emotions or influences. So...
Is that how you would define a sensitive? Is that how you would define yourself when it comes to paranormal and extra otherworldly things like ghosts and spirits?
So taking the actual Webster Dictionary definition of a sensitive being that you are responsive to the external stimuli, meaning that, I mean, the spirits do generate some energy that are able to be felt. That's why us investigators actually use equipment that kind of detects the fields or the magnetic fields, the energy in the room in order for it to respond. So those equipments are sensitive, aka being a sensitive, you're able to feel that external stimuli. That's per the definition of in the dictionary, that you are responding to the external stimuli, feelings and stuff like that. So, I mean, like some people describe being a sensitive, you're feeling like you're being watched. So that gut, that instinct feeling that a lot of us are considered to be a sensitive trait. So.
Now, sometimes you tell me about these dreams that you have at night. They're very vivid dreams that she tells me. Like, she can tell them to me in detail. Like, there was a red bottle on the shelf behind me, and then this person walked through the door, and they were wearing this, and this, and they had a black hat on, and she can even tell me, like, the color of their eyes sometimes. Like, her dreams are that vivid. Are all sensitives' dreams that vivid?
Yes, because of the fact that the sensitives, aka third eye, or the part of the brain that is contribute to the sensitivity, is open. Like, you're open and you're receiving these messages, and a lot of these dreams can be messages, and we all know when we're sleeping we're vulnerable, so that's when the spirits are able to send those messages to that person, especially if you have a connection to a place or a person in general, kind of thing. So yes, I mean, it is a very a good trait. So one of my dreams as of late was a couple of weeks ago that I dreamt of. I was in a street, and I still remember everything, and you can hear my daughter. I was in the street, and there's the big street light in front of me, and there was children. Their children were like completely black, but you can't see their faces, but I knew they were children, right? And I went, and I remembered the fear that I can feel it in my gut, and then I was able to I was trying to avoid these kids, but the kids were chasing after me. But like the spotlight, the light was moving with them, shining their shadow, but not really seeing their faces. And this is right before an investigation. And it always happens right before an investigation. So.
And by the way, she often wakes up from these dreams as like a nightmare, scared and yelling, "Chad! Oh my God, Chad!"
Yes.
It's quite interesting. So, Alia, a lot of our viewers, they might think or wonder, could I be a sensitive? Is there some kind of test, like scientific test, to tell whether or not you're a sensitive?
There's no scientific test. Everyone has the ability of
I don't. I'm definitely not a sensitive. I don't have these vivid dreams.
No.
If there was a ghost standing right in front of us right now, I could not tell you.
But the thing is because you're quite closed off and you haven't practiced opening yourself up in order to tap into your ability. Everyone has the ability. It's whether or not you tap into it or you want to stay closed is the question. So yeah, you can be a sensitive. However, it's whether or not you want to be receptive to it. That one day that we went to Farrar School, you had that uneasy feeling in that one little room. That's a sensitive characteristic kind of thing. That's your sensitive side coming in. You knew something was there, and you knew it wasn't a nice one. So that is a sensitive, and that's an empathic ability that you can sense that.
I mean, I get that feeling sometimes when, like, late at night when I'm walking, like, in a dark parking lot to my car, I'm like, this just doesn't feel right. I shouldn't be here. Is that, like, a sensitive?
But is that a sensitive, empathic ability, or is it your mind playing tricks on you because of the darkness and feeling alone?
Or is it a fight or flight kind of feeling?
It's a fight or flight feeling when you're walking alone, in my opinion, because that instinct kind of helps you be ready for something that's unpredictable kind of thing. So whether you believe these experiences are supernatural or is our body saying and keeping us ready. So who can be sensitive? Who is more sensitive than not? I mean, as we get older, we become a little bit more closed off. You say that you never had experience as a kid or growing up, correct?
Yeah, but I also don't remember a lot of my childhood, so.
Right. So as we grow up, we become closed and forget a lot of the memories and a lot of the experiences that we've had as a child, unless you are completely like you remember everything and you have a pretty decent memory kind of thing. So children in themselves are susceptible to having empathic abilities and are sensitive to seeing beyond the veil.
Like, we know for sure that Abby had, I don't know if it was abilities or not, but she said that she saw my dad when she was young, and she'd never met my dad before he passed away. Ollie had just become pregnant with her before he passed away. So, but she used to say that she saw pictures of him in our house, and she said, "Oh, I know him.
He comes visits me."
Yeah, and she would even say that's Grandpa.
Which guy is visiting you in your room? Like, let me check the door and the windows now. You know.
Right. So. And
mind you, she is on the second floor, so there is no way someone can really crawl up or
get up
there easily without notifying us, because our room actually faces the front of the house. So for her to say that she was able to see this person who looks like my father-in-law who had passed, so imaginary friends. If you're a student, I'm going to say you're a student a lot because it's getting near to the school year, so my brain is right there. So so the children often has imaginary friends. I know I had an imaginary friend.
I had a couple of them.
It was a little creepy, but to my parents, but they just pretended it was just me, because I'm always the unusual one in my family.
Still are.
Oh, I am. Yes, I am.
Black sheep of the family.
As I delve into the paranormal, whereas everyone else, like, nope, it does not exist.
And you married the white guy, too.
Well, we're not going to go and touch on that, man. But I mean, like, children do have the tendency to have these abilities because they are innocent. They have not been corrupted. They have not been closed off. And for them to see or have imaginary friends, I would ask more questions in regards to who this imaginary friend, and maybe you can do some research on the house.
So some parents, they try to, I know this from experience, they try to stop their kids from having an imaginary friend. They're like, oh no, you don't see a friend. Like, let's stop that. Would you encourage parents, like, we're not trying to tell people how to parent their kids or anything, but would you suggest parents to encourage imaginary friends or to discourage them, or like, do you think imaginary friends for kids is a good thing or a bad thing?
I mean, it is an outlet for the for the student, for the kids to have a friend or a creative friend, especially if they are the only child of the family or whatever. It kind of gives them that safe feeling that they do have friends and keeps them occupied. I don't know if I want to say to encourage imaginary friends. I want to say ask more questions.
Okay.
And then do some research. If it comes to a death in the house and that person's name comes up in regards to that death, I would make sure to put a boundary on that.
I would say if you're concerned about it, seek professional help. But generally, I think imaginary friends are part of growing up. I think almost every kid has an imaginary friend at some point in their life. I know a lot of my friends had imaginary friends at some point. Some of us had them a little bit longer than others. Some of them only had them for a month or two.
Right.
I don't know. Seems like a regular part of growing up, but
it is. I mean,
I'm not an expert. So.
It can also become the reason. Hold on. It can also be because the children, their brains are also, still growing and they're still creating those neural pathways that can also contribute to these imaginary friends. It can also be contributed. The night terrors can be a contribution to them experiencing all these empathic abilities, or even like adults. The adults can actually contribute to these stories when, let's say, an adult saying, oh my God, we have a ghost in the house, and like they're constantly talking about it in front of the kids and stuff, and the kids are able to absorb that. Even though they may not look like they're listening, they're definitely listening. I've definitely gotten that experience in my classroom as well. So their little ears are always watching. So have you ever heard stories from older Kenosha families about children saying strange things in their historic homes here in Kenosha?
Personally, I have not, no.
So, but the thing is, like, I want to say these stories exist no matter where you are. I mean, Kenosha is really like a very, very a hotspot of activity because of the history, because of the settlement, because it's always developing, So I feel like that's always a part of a family who will always have some sort of stories, kind of thing. So the empaths are described as more of emotionally connected to things.
Okay.
So they're emotionally driven or aware, so they're also sensitive to the people's moods and energies that they give off. They actually get really overwhelmed in crowds, whereas sensitive or more, I guess I want to say they are one and the same, sensitives and empaths.
Do they like feel the spirit's emotions though? If the spirit's crying, then they'll start crying too?
Actually, they do feel the emotions that are attached to the locations, whereas the sensitive is more reacting to the energy from that location, from that object, from that person. More the empaths are more the emotional, the empathy, and they tend to get overwhelmed in crowds because of all the emotions in that one area. And believe me, I feel it too. So sensitives usually go hand in hand with empaths or being an empath.
Is there any one that is like more valuable, I guess you could say, when you're doing an investigation?
I feel like being a sensitive is more valued because of actually, you got me stumped. I don't know.
We stumped the expert, guys. Look at that.
I know, right? Because being an empath, you're able to tune into the emotions that had been played out and that stuck around. But that's more of a residual impact versus a sensitive that can feel the changing environment.
But when you're investigating, you don't necessarily want the emotions. You want the evidence, and the emotions aren't evidence. You want the actual physical evidence, so like the lights blinking, the stuff moving.
Right. I mean, like, even though I am an empath and I usually use my abilities for investigations, but investigations, you can't really debunk things based off of someone's emotions or feelings. You want that scientific back
I mean,
to it, too.
even when you're on an investigation, like your abilities, as we can call them, aren't even always useful because, sure, you can feel the spirits there and sometimes get their names and stuff, but they still don't always do what we ask them to do.
Yeah, because they're stubborn that way. But yeah, exactly. I mean, like, even though the sensitive, if you are a sensitive, if you are an empath, you're able to utilize that gift to guide the investigation, but not really lead the investigation, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because you can guide something and it can be totally wrong, you know? But it's a general direction that gives the investigator a sense of, okay, this is a general area that we need to focus on. Here are the equipment that we would need to put in, and hopefully that tool or those tools help back the sensitives up. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm all for the whole utilizing your gift. Even as a medium, like, I'm not going to discount their abilities on an investigation, but as an investigator myself, I'm going in there to scientifically prove or disprove that activity, and I cannot do that based off of feelings,
Right.
or mental thing, because what if I had mental issues? Then what?
Right.
You know? So because of this psychiatry or psychology part, we can't always trust the sensitive to be the end-all be-all proof of the veil kind of thing. So regardless of the explanation, empaths are always represented in the paranormal community because we are very open about our gifts.
So this next section I think is really interesting. Twins. Now, neither one of us are twins.
No.
I don't know any twins. Well, no, I do actually.
I do.
Tim's daughters are twins.
Oh yeah.
They're fraternal twins because they're not identical.
No, I think they're identical. We got to check on that.
They don't look alike. They don't.
Do you remember the other twin?
I do. They don't look alike.
Okay.
They may be identical, but they don't look alike.
We will have to check on that. Tune in for that.
I am
part
not
two.
like 90% sure they don't look alike.
Now is 90%. See how he backtracks.
I'm 95% sure they don't look alike. Anyway, so those are the only two twins that I know, or only set of twins that I know that I can think of off the top of my head. But a lot of people say that twins are extra special because they can
Finish
Talk-
each other's sentences.
talk to each other, finish each other's sentences,
And
read
not
each other, read each other's minds.
And not even with each other. They actually develop like languages just for themselves, so that no one can understand them, kind of thing.
They can sense when there's something wrong with the other one. They share each other's dreams, or even in each other's dreams.
That's kind of creepy.
Yeah, all kinds
thank you. I
all
don't
kinds
want
of things that people like you and I have never experienced before.
I know, but are they just a coincidence? Coincidence that they just able to feel the other person's feelings?
I have no idea. I've never been a twin, so I don't know.
Well, unfortunately, it has actually remained unproven. So if you are a twin, we will love to hear from you. Drop down the comment or email us at this above email that I'm going to flash on the screen.
Yeah, I think that twins are really fascinating because they have a lot of really interesting stories about, one twin may be in danger, another twin can just sense it, and they can even know where the other twin is, and they can call 911 for them and say, my brother or my sister are in danger, and here's where they are. And they can get there.
Danger, Will Robinson.
Exactly.
Danger.
And they get there and they can help them. And they're not anywhere near them. They could be hundreds of miles away, and they can somehow just sense that their brother or sister are in danger and get them help. I just think that's really interesting and fascinating. Something that, we'll never experience because we just don't have that bond.
I'm okay with that, though.
Yeah, I mean, just having that bond, though, is something extra special, though, I guess, that we'll never get to experience.
That's true. However, that is one of the aspects. So if you are a twin and you do have these experiences, let us know. So our next segment is we're going to talk about first responders. Who are the first responders? Who are considered the first responders?
Well, we used to be first responders, EMT firefighters. Well, I used to be a firefighter. You were just an EMT.
I was a paramedic. There is a difference.
Emergency medical technician falls under paramedic. So
I know, but those who are watching who are first responders, there is a difference, right, guys? So anyways, we were EMTs for a long while, actually.
Yeah.
And that's how we met. We don't want to go into that, though. But,
no, that's a long story for maybe another podcast. We'll see what happens.
Right, exactly. But so EMTs, firefighters, police officers, actually.
Nurses.
ER nurses for sure, though. So
would we consider doctors, ER doctors, first responders? I would consider them first responders.
If we're going to consider ER nurses.
Yeah, because some ER doctors do go out in the field sometimes if they're needed.
Right.
They would go out in the field.
Not like the show ER though. Not
not quite like that. But if they are needed to go out in the field to set up triage or something, some ER doctors would go out there.
Oh yeah, like a Mavis or like a mass casualty thing. Yes, that's true. So why are, let's say, I mean, we all know why EMTs are considered sensitives or the emotional center of the paranormal. So
do we all really know why? I mean, our viewers may not know why. Let's talk about why.
I guess.
So EMTs, firefighters, paramedics, nurses, doctors, they have this extra bond with maybe the other side because they are around a lot of tragedy, emergency, and even death. Obviously, when we're at our worst moment in lives, we call 911. Police, firefighters, EMTs, they all rush to the scene to help us in our moment of tragedy. Sometimes that tragedy doesn't always turn out to be the best, and we end up dying. So they're around death, they're around tragedy all the time. They see that aspect of life, and they have to deal with it. Sometimes they get counseling, sometimes they push through it themselves, but they have to deal with it, and they see that aspect of life all the time.
And it's, I mean, like all those professions, like you were saying, like they are exposed to all these tragedies, they can actually, it turns into a high stress job. So, but the thing is, this high stress can play a lot on the psychosis or the psychology or the brain. Do you think that it causes those people to experience something that's not there but there because of the high stress exposure.
Well, have you ever seen the show Rescue Me?
No.
It was I don't know if it was early 2000s or
Dennis Leary?
Yeah, I think it was early 2000s because it was after 9/11. But Rescue Me with Dennis Leary, he used to see his dead cousin who died in 9/11 all the time in the show. Mm-hmm. So it kind of talks about the almost mental breakdown of firefighters and paramedics, because a lot of first responders, they have that issue where they see, I don't know if they see loved ones or dead loved ones all the time, but they have mental issues sometimes that they don't.
PTSD.
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk about PTSD.
They have PTSD, and oftentimes we're too proud to get it checked out. Like, we don't want to see doctors, we don't want to see psychiatrists. Like, we can handle it ourselves. We don't want to have that checked out.
I think it's just the acknowledgement that we need the help.
Right.
Or we're weak.
Yeah.
And rather than strong. I mean, granted, a lot of us know how to compartmentalize.
Compartmentalize.
Yes. Oh my God, this is a long word. But when it becomes, let's say, a mass casualty, and you're seeing a lot of death, a lot of tragedies all in one, like the 9/11, like it plays a huge role in the psyche and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So, is it because of that they are able to see, or are they seeing ghosts, or are they just visualizing something that's turning into these sites?
I mean, I'm sure it's different for everybody. I'm sure it's different situations all the time. Like, mm-hmm. I'm sure sometimes it's just the mind playing tricks on them, and mm-hmm. sometimes they are actually seeing ghosts and they don't even know it. Like, mm-hmm. who knows for sure? Because if you are actually seeing a ghost and you don't know it, who's going to pull out their phone and say, hey, I'm seeing a ghost, and record it all of a sudden?
But I feel like they do tend to get more abilities after or experiencing the high stress, the tragedies. I think because of the fact that they've seen things that most people don't. So they're a little bit more open in that aspect. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying everyone is open, but I feel like they're more apt to believe there's life after death, because I think it does help them cope mm-hmm. with the deaths that they've seen. I remember my first full code, like, it took me a while to get over it, mm-hmm. and it was an adult, Can you just imagine if you experience a child who passed away? But I feel like it plays a role for them to be open for the other side. Mm-hmm. I think that's why. But there are, I'm not saying a lot of them, but like, I know there are police officers who are paranormal investigators. I think it just kind of invokes their curiosity. Mm-hmm. Is there life after death? And now I want to prove it.
Yeah, I want to prove that there is actually life after death, that these people that were there to help, that they don't just go into nothingness, so that there's actually something there for them mm-hmm. after they pass away. And like you said, like I've worked plenty of codes too, where an adult has passed away on me. Mm-hmm. And it is hard, definitely hard. Like, it took mm-hmm. me a little while to get over it too. But it is a totally different story when it's a child that passes away on you. I've had that happen once, maybe twice. I don't remember how many times. But it's a different story altogether, different animal. Mm-hmm. In the fire department, totally different animal when a child passed away.
So the night shift workers, so we're talking about hospitals and stuff. What about these workers that are there? Let's say the custodians who's there,
Those weird noises that go bump in the night.
Oh my goodness. I don't know if I would love that job.
I would fall asleep.
Well, I would fall asleep. I fell asleep during I was just a registrar with a little secretary, and I was doing a double, and I took my break, and I fell asleep hard in the back.
In the break room?
In the break room, yep. Mm-hmm. But regardless, like the secretaries that are for registrations, because mm-hmm. they have to have overnight secretaries, because, especially in the ER.
People still come in the ER at mm-hmm. 3 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And let's say the custodians and stuff like that, they have to clean up stuff, still.
People still use hotels overnight.
Hotels.
Security guards.
Police
officers overnight.
I know for sure there's videos out there that showing security guards having those experiences. Mm-hmm. You know, I remember a video, a security guard actually talking to a person, but someone was looking at their the cameras, or the money, and no one was there.
We've seen that paranormal caught on camera of warehouse workers before, where they just see stuff flying off the shelves all of a sudden, and no explanation at all.
So, I mean, like, there are different factors to the overnight.
Okay.
So the custodians and the secretaries, the security guards, the warehouse workers that work overnight, okay? I can't do it because I don't like my sleep rhythm, my circadian rhythm being disrupted.
Yeah, I'm too old for that now.
But the thing is, it can disrupt, even if you've been doing the third shift for quite some time, it throws your whole circadian rhythm off. You know, the darkness, because it's quite dark and quiet, the feeling of isolation. Do you think those are...
It's always darkest before the dawn, though.
What?
It's a saying. It's always darkest before the dawn.
Oh my God! Don't confuse me. Which it doesn't take that much to confuse me nowadays. But like, circling back into this conversation, do you think those are the factors that kind of contribute to these workers experiencing these ghosts?
So I feel like, you know, some of the things that are caught, especially the things that are caught on camera, are probably true and probably happening. However, some of the things that are said to be happening, like, you know, people that say that they see apparitions happening, they could just be people that are overtired, overstressed, and maybe even overworked. And they're just walking down a long, dark hallway, and they're like, I see a dark figure walking down the hallway with me. Like, is that really true, or are you eyes just playing tricks on you because you just need, you know, a good night's sleep now?
It's like
because you've been working 3 or 4 days in a row and you haven't gotten a good night's sleep.
It's like walking outside in the dark alone. That's the whole flight or fight situation still. I mean, regardless if it's in a building or not, it's just that feeling of isolation, that mind playing tricks on you. Is that the cause or causing these people to have the sensitivity that we are discussing today? And that's something. So if you are an overnight worker, we will love to hear from you.
Yeah,
Again,
drop your story in the comments.
We would love to hear from you, and maybe feature you if you would like to get interviewed. So, so the other groups that we were going to talk about, hospice workers. I've always wondered about this too.
You know, that'd be such a hard job. I could not do that job.
No.
That would break my heart to do that job day in and day out.
My friend actually used to be a hospice nurse, and I go like, how can you be around that? And like, I love her heart is such a great heart, and she goes like, I'm just there to help them be at peace, you know, and that was my job, is for them to be at peace. And so I treated them very kindly and like made sure they were resting peacefully. Or
it would still break my heart though, like,
right,
just to see these poor people, like, even if you don't make an attachment to them, just being there at the end with them, and it would just break my heart.
But I mean, funeral directors, I mean, that's kind of interesting as well.
Yeah, just the stories that they probably have of, you know, because some of these funeral homes, they have bodies in there for sometimes weeks even. And who knows what's attached to these bodies or the things that come in with the bodies. And
mind you, these bodies, they can like extract gas, or like random hands are still moving because the nerve endings, they don't die right away. They still are pumping until, I don't know, they just...
The random nerves firing off,
Yeah. But when that stops, then if it starts moving, then I'll be like, peace out. I'm not going to be here. Like,
caregivers who've been with the person they've been giving care to for sometimes years. That'd be really hard too, especially if you had to go back to the home for whatever reason and like collect your stuff or help the family with funeral arrangements or something like that. That'd be really hard.
So another group that is actually pretty interesting, people who live in historic homes. I think it's pretty interesting because of the fact that are the history and the stories of that home, what happened in the past, is that playing a part of their perception of what's happening in their home?
Has that shaped their life so far?
Yeah.
Because they live in a historic home? Mm-hmm. It's a good question. I don't know.
So I mean, like it's actually pretty interesting about all of these groups and all these segments, and how easily we can debunk it by saying, oh, it's all about psychology, it's all in their brains and they're just perceiving it differently than others. But how do we truly know that they actually have the gift?
What about longtime paranormal investigators?
Oh, yes.
Would you be considered in that group?
Yes. Because it's more than a year.
Okay.
I mean, that's my opinion. What do you consider a long time?
I don't know. I would say at least a year, but definitely more than 5 years. So.
Mm-hmm. So I've been in it for almost actually eight and a half years.
Okay.
So yeah, I will consider myself a longtime paranormal investigator. I think because of the exposure to different historic places and different feelings, the captures, the evidence that I've captured over the years, I believe that for sure will have an impact of being an empath or sensitive.
So do you think that believing in the paranormal actually matters or not, or do you think that people just have these experiences and that makes them believe?
I think them having the experience and that what makes them believe. Not believe. If you talk to any paranormal investigator, that's how they start. Granted, we all love the history and stuff, but it's having that experience that makes you believe that there is something beyond death.
Okay.
Kind of thing. So, what about you? You're an investigator by proxy.
I mean, I've always believed that there's something out there, something after life, whether it's heaven, hell, becoming a ghost, something after life. Mm-hmm. So I've always believed that there's something. I've always been a firm believer that I want something to happen to me that's otherworldly, I guess you could say. Like, I want a ghost to come up and like tap me on the shoulder and say, "Hi, I'm Fred. I'm a ghost today." Or, a ghost to just appear in front of me, or a ghost to pick up something and throw it at me. Mm-hmm. But I haven't had that experience yet. So hopefully someday that will happen to me, and then I can definitely say that ghosts do exist, because that has definitely happened to me.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, you can be an investigator and still not believe that there are other sides. That's why they're called skeptics and stuff. But also, belief system actually plays in a role as well. Some believers actually pay attention to details. Others, they dismiss it. Belief system, religious belief system, kind of plays into the part as well, kind of thing. So, if your belief system or religion doesn't believe a life after death, and are you actually going to experience that? Are you actually going to say, "Oh no, because I am experiencing this now. However, my religion says there's no life after death"?
That's a good question. I don't know
so
how that would work.
It's kind of hand in hand, like the demons versus an angry spirit, like human spirit, and it's all about the belief system that you actually have for yourself, kind of thing. So there isn't any one answer to this. It's about having those experiences, going in with a clear mind and being open to the possibilities of that beyond the veil experience, or the beyond the veil life, kind of thing.
Definitely makes sense. So you, the viewers out there, have you ever felt like you're a sensitive? Do you feel like there's something more out there? Do you feel like you can feel something extra? You, the viewer out there, do you ever feel like you're more, like you can feel something more when you're out there, when you're at places, like you can feel that there's a spirit or something extra at the place you're at? Let us know down here in the comments, or shoot us an email at the email that's here on the screen. Tell us your story. We would love to hear your story. Maybe we'll interview you on a future podcast. That'd be fantastic.
But here in Kenosha, we are not. We don't have a shortage of historic homes that kind of brings about those that background. The lakefront fog that comes in the fall, or the century-old neighborhoods that we have here in Kenosha, let alone the hospitals that we have. I know we have an old Kenosha hospital that's shut down. So, are there?
And lots of old 100-plus-year-old buildings that are downtown Kenosha and spread out through all of Kenosha County.
So
they have lots of history and stories to tell.
These settings actually help shape these experiences. So I don't think Kenosha is short of ghost stories.
No,
and we would love to hear them as well. So we're Chad and Alia Scott, your local paranormal investigators here in Kenosha, bringing you the topic about sensitives versus empaths.
Have a good one, guys.